For our top story tonight on Gravitas, we focus on the war in Ukraine. After 2 years of intense conflict, multiple stalemates, a failed counter-offensive campaign, and the depletion of thousands of NATO weapons, not to mention the loss of thousands of lives to the Russian assault, Ukraine finds itself with no end in sight to its woes. In fact, a critical Ukrainian stronghold, Avdiivka, has now fallen. Russia has declared its successful capture of this key town in Donbass. And this, by the way, marks Russia's most significant advance on the battlefield in 9 months. And since the fall of Bakhmut last year. Such was the brutality of Russian strikes. Ukrainian soldiers allegedly started retreating from the town even before receiving an order from their top command. Visuals released by the Russian Ministry of Defense showed drone footage of their assault on Sunday. It purportedly shows a chaotic rout of the Ukrainian forces from Avdiivka. Groups of soldiers can be seen attempting to escape the town on foot. The retreating troops face artillery shelling and airstrikes. The Russian Defense Ministry saying that its troops advanced 9 kilometers on the front line. The capture of Avdiivka basically means that the Russian forces can now press forward much deeper into Ukraine. It comes after months of deadly urban battle. Now, before I go any further at this point, let me just explain to you why this is significant. First and foremost, this big gain on the battlefield for Russia comes ahead of the second anniversary of the Russia-Ukraine war. The Russian President Vladimir Putin has hailed the capture of Avdiivka as an important victory, and in some ways, it is for Russia. You see, this war has now become a war of attrition. It means that one side is trying to cause the other side to lose so many soldiers and resources that the other side gets worn down and eventually collapses. And the ultimate winner is the side left with more resources. Now, you can deduce which side Ukraine falls on in this case. After 2 years of war, the difference in size between Ukraine and Russia has become more and more apparent. The town of Avdiivka fell after months of relentless and bloody fighting, leaving the Ukrainian troops outnumbered, outgunned, and with dwindling weapons. The last city that was fought for so fiercely was Bakhmut, and that city also fell to the Russians after months of fierce fighting. Now, you must be wondering, what is so special about Avdiivka? And what does this mean as far as the Ukraine war is concerned? Let me break it down for you. You see, Avdiivka has endured a decade of conflict. And this is no ordinary town in Ukraine, by the way. The reason Russians fought so hard for this is because it is key to Russia's aim of securing full control of the Donbass region. It holds a particular symbolism for Russia. In the year 2014, it was briefly captured by Russia-backed separatist forces. They had seized parts of eastern Ukraine. But Ukrainian troops had eventually retaken the town and turned it into a fortress. Since last October, Russia had been launching wave after wave of attacks towards Avdiivka. Yes, for some time, the Ukrainians were able to hold them off with targeted strikes, but it seems that Russia was able to break down their defenses. And now Ukraine has reasons to worry. They have not had the same luck in breaking down Russian fortifications. A much-hyped counteroffensive that was launched last summer showed how Ukrainian troops were no match for the Russians' tough defenses. Ukraine's campaign to retake territories lost to Russia was lackluster, to say the least, and Russia has been able to build its fortifications in a matter of months. Western media reports admit that despite losing thousands of soldiers, Russia has been able to replenish them almost immediately. And now with Avdiivka in their control, Russia could push further to other key cities. This is a major boost for Russian forces on the battlefield. Russia has captured and almost totally destroyed other Ukrainian settlements on the front line. Ukrainian forces saying they are facing attacks from almost all directions. Reports say Russia has concentrated its best trained fighters around Avdiivka. Here, Russia is believed to be dropping almost 60 bombs daily on Ukrainian positions. Apart from being another step in Russia's goal of controlling the entire Donetsk region, Avdiivka's capture will also provide a morale boost for the Russian forces. Moscow's troops have been trying to grind down Ukrainian forces just as Ukraine weighs up a major new mobilization. It also comes at a time when the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has appointed a new commander, remember, to run the war against Russia. With the Ukrainian army under pressure, the Russian military seem to sense a window of vulnerability. And the Ukrainian troops are exhausted after 2 years of combat. Plus, there is a new commander-in-chief, Alexander Syrsky. Let's not forget, Ukrainian troops are also short of ammunition. Russia already holds approximately 18% of Ukrainian territory. Months of Russian strikes meant that in Avdiivka, there was no place left to take cover. And this same Russian strategy to obliterate every Ukrainian city on its way worked in the year 2022 when Russia captured Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, remember. The president of Ukraine blames this on the artificial deficit of arms. In fact, while speaking about his troops withdrawing from Avdiivka, Zelensky once again stressed on Ukraine's need for more weapons. He says he spoke to US President Joe Biden. Listen in.
Розмова з президентом Байденом. Дуже важливі акценти.
The conversation with US President Joe Biden, very important points, in particular about Avdiivka and the necessity for the continuation of principled and sufficient support for Ukraine. The talks with the Vice President of the United States were very substantive. Meetings with congressmen, representatives of both parties, both chambers of the American Congress, and each such conversation confirmed the key idea as clearly as possible. Ukraine can stop Putin and create conditions for him to be punished for all the evil he has done.
The withdrawal of Ukrainian forces in Avdiivka is partly due to the insufficient assistance provided by Ukraine's Western allies. Russia has a much larger military force, along with ample artillery ammunition, making Ukraine heavily reliant on US weapons. However, a $95 billion aid package, including support for Ukraine, is still pending for approval in Washington, leaving other NATO allies struggling to bridge the gap. And as a result, Ukrainians are forced to ration weapons, leading to low morale. Reports say that the withdrawal from Avdiivka could just be the start, and this raises concerns about Ukraine's future actions. If Ukraine faces further setbacks, it will raise some serious questions. What happens next? Let's not forget, Putin still wants the whole of Ukraine, and there is a real possibility he might just take it. This potential scenario could either galvanize Western unity so that they can prevent such an outcome, or intensify skepticism about Ukraine's ability to win the war, despite its ability to defend itself for a long time. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.